That, of course, is some of my hometown sound, courtesy of the NPR Tiny Desk Concert of Rare Essence. Go-Go officially in the house. I was so excited when I saw that they got featured. Now, you know, it's very difficult for those of you who have ever been to see Go-Go live. Cramming a whole go-go band in the very small space that they allot for the Tiny Desk concerts was something to watch. There wasn't a whole lot of dancing going on like you would normally see on a regular stage, but there was definitely, as you hear, that John was crunk. I'm sorry, you know, I gotta slip back to my DC every now and again, and so that is just it just makes my heart glad to be able to give people a little taste
your
of the
DC
official
connection.
My DC life. I'm always going to be DC down to the core, but you know, I bring in the other experiences, and like I say, Philly grew me up. DC born and raised me. Philly grew me up, so I just, you know, I like to blend the two every now and again when I have an opportunity to do so.
Where we're looking over here now, or we got?
Well, I was gonna say we got two.
So cameras.
We're high tech today, y'all. We got our Facebook live feed going, and we've also got Mike's GoPro camera going, so he'll use that footage at a later date. Yeah, we're
expecting our filmmaker. We're showing a movie tonight, The Adventures of Charlie. I don't know how to say, La Vie Magnifique de Charlie, and Bobby Humphrey. He just got off the plane.
So hopefully he'll be joining us before the hour's over.
Yeah, but and beyond that, we also have ROB Buscher from the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival, which kicked off last night. He's going to call in at 12:30,
yes,
and share with us, and then so it's going to go by real quick. But
indeed. So it's Real Black Radio. For those of you just tuning in at its new time at noon on Fridays, and Mike Dennis is in the house.
Yeah, it's sort of even out because like last weekend was daylight savings time or something. So
there's no S, daylight saving.
Okay.
I'm just trying to. I want you to be Valentine's, and I want you to be right. Daylight saving time.
Now, who created that rule? It's just how everybody says it.
I was going to say that's just black folks adding, you know, we add apostrophe S where it doesn't belong, and it's always about daylight saving. That it's not savings, not like a bank. It's daylight saving time.
Okay. All right. Well, we saved some time because I got to sleep in, and I was still running a little behind. So
Mike is always late, y'all. Always.
I just push things. Just push. Well, you know, it's I didn't make the rule. I make my own rule.
That's how he's handling it.
Except when you get the pink slip, and then it's like, well, you know, you've been coming in late quite a bit. You really want this money? You want this job? You know, maybe we can find somebody else that has a watch. You've made enough money, you could buy a watch.
But you know, since our special guest isn't here yet, I just want to ask you about your writing session. Your up to New York and kind of bunkered in.
Oh, I was going away.
Yes.
I got sick halfway through.
Oh, boo.
So we did one. Charles Woods and I were.
I was going to say, please give the background. I know what it is, but
Charles
people
Woods
at home
and I,
don't.
My podcast partner, he's since I met him, like when I met him, when he was running the 43rd Chamber in New York, this is 20 some odd years ago. He was telling me all these stories and everything. Said, you know, my book is coming out, right? I'm writing a book, right? So I said, okay, whatever. So I reconnected with him 20 years later, and he'd written a book, but it had nothing to do with film, right? So this is like weird. It has mnemonics or whatever. He self-published, but it had nothing to do with film. And then, you know, I was getting to know him. I went to his house. He's got this huge library, books, all kinds of black history and everything. And he shows him this newspaper article written in 1978 by Nelson George, where he's starting a film festival in New York, in Harlem. And they were showing rare black films at that time. The last paragraph, Charles Wood's book will be out at the end of the year.
Wow, 78.
So I said, Charles, you know, we got to fix this.
Dude, 40 years, really, it's time.
So we got to fix it. So we were in the initial stages. We kind of, you know, what we discovered in just talking, it was very good for research because we could look at things and do deeper research. But we can kind of do it on Skype. But it was very valuable week away. You need a week away sometimes.
Yes.
I also got a chance to see Woody King Jr.'s documentary.
Nice.
And then Roan Frazier and I, we interviewed him for a future podcast.
And tell people who Woody King Jr. is.
Woody King Jr. is a pioneering spirit. He is the founder of New Federal Theater in New York. It started the Henry Street Settlement, and it arose out of the ashes of a lot of the riots. They were throwing money towards, like, we need to cultivate Black culture and theater. So in addition to New Federal, also Negro Ensemble starting around that time. And within that time period, late 60s, early 70s, since then he's run 45 seasons, I think, or 44 seasons of doing this theater.
That's impressive.
And, at least 3 to 4 productions every year. And he's helped discover a lot of talent or give people great opportunities, and he's got a wealth of friends who are all at the screening. And then also, like, Checkmates was one of Denzel Washington's first Broadway performances. He produced that. He produced Black Girl, the movie Ossie Davis did. He did a movie called Right On with the Last Poets, and just a legend. So very good that he got his due, and we had a chance to talk to him and mind some things. So it was a very great trip, but more to come.
Yes,
so to speak.
So I just wanted to let everybody kind of catch up that Mike is expanding his wings once again and trying to bring us more of this history that might otherwise go unknown or unrecognized. And so it's just great to know that you are about that process.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just time to do something new. So at the end of the year, I'm always looking for the next project. But and the channel's had a nice run. And people are continuing to discover us and the Dick Gregory videos. But, I mean, there won't be any more Dick Gregory videos. So we anticipate our viewership is going to hopefully stabilize. But with this last boost, we wanted to initiate some projects. So taking more time to write. So this time next year was November 10th. Hopefully, with Esperance, November 10th, 2018, we'll have a bigger thing to announce. So.
Excellent.
But... yeah, so so not much news. I mean, the dominoes keep falling in Hollywood. Louis C.K. got caught up in the trap this week.
Yeah, everybody who knows me, and that's why I'm looking directly at the camera, then I look back at you, knows how I feel about this. Again, there's no secret to the idea of the casting couch or the idea that money and fame give you the misleading idea that money and fame give you the license to act like you have no home training or other good common sense.
Right. Well, some of these Louis C.K. accusations, they were happening before he had any money or any power.
Yes.
Right. He just was in a weird place, and he felt it was appropriate to expose himself in front of women without permission. So
again, so
people have been saying this for a while.
You all have seen Louis C.K., right? And that's not to say that there won't be a segment of the population that just finds him attractive on his own merits. But I'm just saying that the idea of taking 2 girls back to your room and joking about exposing yourself and then excusing yourself and coming back in the room naked.
Right.
This isn't an unfamiliar scenario. This conversation has been happening about a lot of these folks who just think that they have license to go buck wild just because they might be somebody. And I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
Well, I mean, the rumors were around. And people were saying, you need to address this, you need to address this. So apparently he was addressing it in a way because he's got a new movie that's supposed to come out next Friday.
Now it won't.
Called I Love You, Daddy.
It is now on hold. Netflix was like, They're like, we cut to Kevin. Basically, if we cut Kevin Spacey, we won't think twice about putting your movie on hold. It's like, nah, dude, we don't need this kind of press.
So and then also, accusations. They said John Singleton was inappropriate to a reporter. He was like trying to come on to her. Or something.
Yeah, of course.
So last week I said they didn't have any black folks in the trap. Now they got one.
As John Singleton is the R. Kelly apologist. Y'all know how I feel about that. So I'm just, there's a whole lot of chickens coming home to roost right now.
Yeah. Until 45 is out of there, you're going to continue to see scandals in Hollywood. So, it is what it is. Unfortunate. I learned with the Cosby situation, got to separate the art from the artist. Mm-hmm. And, everyone's human, and these things happen in a sexist, racist society. So, maybe we're coming to terms with some of this change.
Perhaps. Terry Crews actually went to file charges this week in LA,
right,
over the man that groped him. And so, I that's why I hesitate to just make it sexist.
Right.
I think a lot of it is racist, but that, I think...
Well, I'm just saying the society in general rewards this type of behavior for certain people.
Yes.
They get away with it.
What agency we have over our bodies in the midst of other negotiations, other social circumstances, and everything is going to... Hopefully, this will be an ongoing conversation. Right. And I'm not just sitting here in the background with pom-poms trying to see the white man brought down. That's really not what this is about. This is about us not as a society, not having enough conversation about an enthusiastic yes over a reluctant no or an emphatic no, and how much credence we pay to people saying, I do not want this.
Right. And beyond that, I was watching, there's a great interview on YouTube. I just discovered it's been up for about a couple months. Richard Pryor on the Dick Cavett Show, 1985. It's one of the best conversations I've ever seen with him. And I've seen a lot of Richard Pryor interviews.
Yeah.
And towards the end, they both reveal their sort of early molestations. So Richard Pryor, he was talking about going to psychiatrists, and then he revealed that when he was like 6 years old, he was molested by some older boys, and he said, like, look, I make everything transparent,
right?
But there is a shame, there's a humiliation that goes with that, being exploited. Any time you feel exploited, but then when your body is exploited. So speaking up about it, talking about it, and hopefully in the process of making this out in the open, when people say don't tell anybody, or don't tell anybody or else, or this is our secret or whatever, hopefully we get past that and we can expose these people, because this kind of abuse within families and stuff can go on for years because people are afraid to speak. So
and again, another shout out to Tarana Burke and her Me Too campaign. She started it over a decade ago. It's been given new life because other celebrities kind of latched themselves onto it, not knowing this was an ongoing situation, but now she's benefiting from that spotlight being shown on this, and intends to grow the movement, grow the activism that is coming from this.
Hopefully continues to grow. Another thing, if we're talking about news, Ava DuVernay, always quoted, she's in the Variety, she was speaking at an event, and she said, like, actions speak louder than words. A report came out this week where diversity really hasn't changed in Hollywood. That the
showrunners, the writers, and et cetera, are still overwhelmingly white male.
Right, and we still consume more than anybody. Black folks still. So the increase in shows is probably still in relation to all the white shows is still the same proportion. It's just so many more outlets for content.
Yes.
So you're going to see more things that represent you. And then also you can go to the past and you'll see things that represent you. So so that's good. But she said, like, look, it took me 5 years to have a position where within my show, it's an anomaly. I hire all women.
Yeah.
But nobody seems to want to take that thing, and they'll, if there's some dissent, they'll start all these programs. Oh, where are these people? And I know people personally have been through 3, 4, 5 of these programs, still in the union.
Right.
Shout out to Pete Chapman, who just directed his first episode of Blackish. But so change is occurring, but I still hold that until we have our own system where we're, our own ecosystem where we're supporting one another and people aren't necessarily looking to the big payday, we're always going to go through these cycles of feast and famine within the Hollywood system. So
absolutely. But for those of you who have not been keeping up with Queen Sugar, the 2-hour finale is next Wednesday. There's so much. It is so rich. It is so full. It is so necessary. It's so rare when we get characters that are this well developed. and a family scenario where each and every person in the family has a clear role, and you can love and hate them in the course of one episode.
So black people,
it's beautiful.
Black people who love Queen Sugar, you now understand why white folks love the Waltons so much.
You know what? And on that
thing stayed on forever.
It is definitely time for break.
All right, good night,
When we come back, Mike is going to go retrieve our special guest, and we're going to continue our conversation about great things happening in film and television on this week's edition of Real Black Radio. Stay tuned. From the album Celia y Willy, that is Celia Cruz and Willie Colon with a song called Come Down to Miami. So that is a shout out to my fellow Afro-Latinos in the listening audience, but also when we talk about excellence as it relates to being able to share with us our stories and our gifts, I am every day missing La Reina and all of the spirit that she brought to the music and awareness that she also helped to create about Afro-Cuban culture. And so, just wanted to bring that in as we reconvene and we talk about other purveyors of culture in various languages and various experiences that are joining us here in studio today.
Yeah, if you can see past the on Facebook Live,
he's going to slide over. He's going to slide over a little bit more so we can catch him on both cameras.
We have Bobby Humphrey in the studio, just fresh off a plane from Atlanta, and he's already on social media doing something.
Hello,
you doing your moment?
Yeah. I'm here. I made it.
Well, cruising in the ATL. I'm sorry.
We have a few
I'm
minutes,
a very big Outkast fan.
Before Rob calls in to tell us about the Asian American film. Yeah, say hi to. Well, actually, Andre 3000 ain't down there no more.
Oh,
he's in New York.
No, but I'm just saying. But that song,
cruising
in the ATL.
Okay.
It's one of the great interludes. I try to blackify Mike. I really do, but he, sometimes he ain't down with the program.
There ain't nothing in Atlanta that Philly ain't got. We got Chick-fil-A now. We got Coca-Colas. All that stuff. I've been to Atlanta. I'm like, you got one street, Peachtree.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of variations on Peachtree.
Well, you can get lost if you say I need to go to Peachtree.
Lane Avenue. You got to know precisely where you're going.
Oh,
and it's a hill. You don't ride a bike in Atlanta, do you? Because it's all hills.
I don't know how to ride a bike.
Really?
Really?
It just never happened for me.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I would if you were in Atlanta proper. I mean, I don't know about the burbs. I mean, but welcome to Philadelphia. Welcome to Philadelphia.
You see that like half-hearted shade he's been giving you? That is just awful.
Because I love this guy. I love his film.
All right.
I love this guy. I love his film. We're showing it tonight at the United Bank Building, 3750 Lancaster, 7:15 p.m. Pay what you want. Wow. Because we want you to see this movie. There's going to be a lot of special guests. It's going to be amazing, and it's a woman-centric movie. And tell us about it. I don't know how to pronounce it. So
It's the film is called Le VIE MAGNIFIQUE de Charlie.
Ooh, say that again.
Le VIE MAGNIFIQUE de Charlie.
Yes.
The Magnificent Life of Charlie. I don't really speak French, y'all, so don't get too excited.
Okay.
But we just call it the Charlie movie on the street for short. So you just call it the Charlie movie. And it's definitely a celebration of, that black girl magic. And myself and the co-creator, co-writer, Nikki Wade, we wanted to create something for black women because, we've been seeing the demands for better representations of them in media and film and the like. And we just wanted to show something that was quirky, lighthearted, fun, different, but tells a real story about love, loss, self-discovery, mental health, self-love, all of those things in a nice, compact 86 minutes.
There we go. There we go. So on behalf of all of the sisters, thank you, because we were just talking about Queen Sugar and this whole idea of developing multi-dimensional characters. Everybody ain't got to be perfect, but we do want to have, representations that show that we've got facets.
Yes. We're letting go of the notion of perfection. We don't have to be perfect, and we don't have to be thugs and whatever else either. We can just be human.
Yes.
Full-rounded human with flaws. And that's why I love where we are right now. We're in the black renaissance of today in media, and I want you guys to realize this and understand the blessings of where we are right now as content creators. We can create content with our phone, distribute content with our phone. It's an amazing time right now to create.
Right.
And I'm just going to have Bobby just talk. You don't have to talk about anything. I'm just going to, soak in the voice, and hopefully you all will appreciate that as well.
Voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You got that deep, very voice.
Don't try and imitate him, Mike. Just let the brother have his moment.
You don't understand how much I love this guy. This man, I mean, like he came up for Black Star for one day, just to soak it up, and he's just about it. He's about it, and. Anybody, I mean, I'm always like saying, like, we keep the screen open for new voices. I mean, we've been doing Reelback for 15 seasons, right? So we've always had a space for independent work, discoveries, and the fact that you not only are sharing this work, which has won lots of festivals already, but actually here tonight, and you're going to share all of your work up until now, including your short films. This man, he did the conceptual trailer for the New Edition movie a year before BET did. So
you were one of the ones that had us going straight back to the If It Isn't Love video. That's nice.
Yeah, that thing went viral. How many thousands of views?
Well, it kept getting ripped and people sharing it and re-uploading it and doing all kind of crazy things. So the numbers, we don't know the exact numbers, but we know for sure it's in the millions.
That's a great
for sure.
thing.
So it captured a lot of people's imagination, and you were ahead of it. And if you Google it, we'll show it tonight. But he's like, hey, I have no money, but I would love to tell this story. Right? Is that how?
Yeah. I just graduated from film schools, 2014, I believe, and I saw them in concert. This is when they were all together, all six of them, and I was like, this story has to be told. It has to be told now while they're all here. So I met BBD a few years ago, just backstage, and we're like, hey, I want to tell your story. They're like, yeah, okay. And it just was a matter of, okay, I have to show what I can do. So it was more so just an audition for me as a young filmmaker. Obviously, I didn't get the job, but it did give me a relationship with those decision makers and, power players in the industry and BET. So I know they're watching me for sure.
Right.
So it was definitely a blessing and a lot of lessons in the industry.
Okay. Well, before we get too far ahead, we have our next guest on the line, Rob Buscher, who I'm sorry I missed it last night. Hey, Rob.
Hey guys.
Welcome to Reelback Radio.
Yes, welcome back. Another year.
Executive Director of the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival.
Yes, and he makes me want to go domo arigato. Remember, we had this conversation about Mr. Roboto last year. So yes, welcome back. Give us the rundown. 10th annual. That's a big deal.
We're excited to be here. I mean, I can't believe that we're sitting here, or standing rather, after a full decade. And I mean, I don't have to explain how hard it is to all you, how, we just do these things out of the passion, out of the love, out of the spirit of community togetherness. And we're here to tell the real authentic stories of the Asian American and Pacific Islander American.
Yeah, and what I love, I'm sorry I missed last night. It was super busy. I know it was great. But I do plan to come to some more stuff. What are some of the highlights this year?
In the 10th anniversary, we were trying to look at the long history of Asian Americans in this country because, unfortunately, a lot of people, they see Asian people on TV. You got these corny accents. You got people who are making jokes at our expense. The reality is that, our families have been here, in some cases, more than 100 years.
Well...
I'm a fourth-generation Japanese American, and my great-grandparents came here in the 1910s.
Yeah.
And it happens to be that the movie we showed last night was actually a silent film made in 1919 by a Japanese immigrant, and a whole cast of Japanese Americans. So, we're really trying to highlight that idea and do it through like a tasteful retrospective of films that date from that film to 1940 that star Asian Americans.
Right.
In leading roles in Hollywood, which was really unheard of in that time period.
Yeah, for those who don't know, like some of the stars back then would be like Setsu Hayakawa.
Yeah, Anna May Wong is another one. She's the first Chinese American actress that became famous in Hollywood. Definitely trope. She has that kind of stereotype of the Asian dragon lady. The overly sexualized woman is available for men. Mainly white men, but at the same time, she provided one of the first positive images of Asian woman on screen for a lot of people that kind of grew up with nothing else as a representation. So we've got two of her films that we're showing later this week in a free program at the Fleischer Art Memorial. It's on Wednesday the 15th. But, we're also doing a ton of contemporary stuff, too, and that's really the conversation that we're hoping to have through this 10th anniversary program is that we want to celebrate the past and change the future. by basically taking control of our own narratives and showing people exactly what it is that our community thinks of itself, and therefore, creating a better, more positive dialogue.
Yes. And, one of the things that I think is incredibly important, there have been a lot of stories that have come out, and I think we touched on this last year, but I just think it's important that when we think about the work that you're doing, compiling these films, and the fact that you are, you definitely make everyone feel welcome. It's hard enough for Black folks to talk about sometimes the parallels between Black and brown communities as we, typify them here in the States. But also the fact that, of course, with our involvement in the armed forces, there are a lot of folks that can celebrate both Asian as well as Black heritage, and that we have a lot to learn about the diversity of our respective communities.
Yeah, and I think there's also an element of intersectionality that we're really seeing a lot of, especially this year. We're hosting a program called Blasian Narrative, which is a fantastic mixed medium film and live spoken word event that looks at the experiences of mixed race Afro-Asians. So we've got a couple of the guests who are actually in the film that'll be performing live spoken word. The entire program focuses around the challenges. And, especially, I think, historically, unfortunately, there have been some tensions between our communities. Yeah. And who better to embody and typify that than mixed-race peoples of both of our communities? So it's a really enlightening, really powerful experience, and I really hope that we can get as many folks from both communities to attend and engage in this discussion.
Well, fantastic. Also, the thing I love about your festival, food and music.
Yeah.
I know you got plenty of that in store for
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have another free program this Tuesday at the Reading Terminal Market. It's a special after-hours event starting at 7 o'clock. We're showing a film called Fermented. It's a documentary that traces a Korean-American chef named Ed Lee as he travels around the country and the world looking at fermented food products, everything ranging from bread and cheese to beer and wine to sake and kimchi. And
kimchi is one of my favorite things.
The magic of fermentation and what this can do in terms of bringing people together. So it's a free event, and there's going to be about 6 of the market vendors who are staying open late to sell an assortment of fermented products ranging from kombucha to sauerkraut to pickles to some of the Indian fermented doughs and yogurt drinks. So it's going to be a great event.
And that's free $99 at the Reading Terminal Market?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay. Free food and a movie this Tuesday night.
We're excited about that.
You got to come support, check that out.
Yes.
So.
And on the music note, there's a really exciting program that, for me is one of the highlights this year. It's called The 4 Pillars. So we're looking at the 4 pillars of hip-hop through film and a live performance. So we've got 3 short films that we've put together that look at the hip-hop culture through the Asian American lens. One looking at graffiti, one at DJing, one at breakdancing, and then we're following it with a live performance from Year of the Ox, and a very prolific Korean American hip-hop duo that's been doing some huge stuff recently. So we're very excited to have them here in Philadelphia next Friday, the 17th, at Asian Arts Initiative.
Yeah. Nice. I need to ask, how did you feel that the kind of coming together of hip hop culture and sort of Black and Asian culture was with the characterizations in the Get Down? Did you see that series, that Netflix series?
I haven't had a chance to watch it all the way through yet, unfortunately, but I think that the larger conversation about that interconnectedness of culture, I think that hip-hop is such an incredible experience because you have all these communities that are in diaspora around the world or other historically disenfranchised peoples who look at hip-hop as this kind of shining beacon of hope. And for a lot of people who haven't been able to practice their own culture, this becomes the replacement culture.
Yeah.
We showed a film last year called Melee Murals that looks at how the indigenous Hawaiians have been taking up graffiti art specifically, but also hip-hop music as a way to kind of reclaim their indigenous culture, reinvent themselves in the 21st century. And it's obviously very different from the origins of hip-hop, but I think it's being done in a respectful way and something that honors both the original intent of the creators of this movement as well as kind of creating a space for this new expression to be happening.
Yeah, and also last year you showed Bad Rap, which is now on Netflix, I just noticed.
Yes.
That's right. And actually, glad you mentioned that, because one of the subjects in Bad Rap, Lyrics, is one of the two MCs that's in Year of the Ox.
Nice. See? Way to go full circle, Mike.
Well, you know I'm going to be down there. We're talking about Rob Buscher, Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival. So for those, where can people find the full schedule of events?
So you guys can go online at www.paaff.org and check out our Facebook and our Twitter. And I hope to see you guys down here at some stuff this weekend. We have free programs all weekend, Friday through Sunday at the Institute of Contemporary Art. We have, again, these great free programs at Reading Terminal Market and also Fleischer Art Memorial next week, and just a whole bunch of other great events. So I hope you guys will check out the schedule and come down and see us.
Oh, most definitely. Definitely. And Reelback is a proud community partner with you. So. And
we so appreciate it. And I think the last thing I'd love to stress is that you don't have to be Asian to come to the Asian American Film Festival. And, I think when people come down here and they see what we're all about, you'll find something that you really connect with and enjoy.
Right on.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us again, Rob.
Thank you both.
And for those of you in the listening audience that want to get more information, want to plan your calendars around all of the offerings, then again, the website is PAAFF, and it stands for Philadelphia Asian American Film and Filmmakers, PAAFF.org. And we'll be back. We're going to talk some more with our guest, and I have a special message that I want to give you all before we conclude today's program. So hang tight. We'll be back with the conclusion of today's Real Black Radio and the Mojo in just a moment. From the album On the Jungle Floor, that is, as we were just saying, for those, I know those of you on Facebook Live were hearing that conversation. Dayton, Ohio born, Atlanta, Georgia groomed. He is now out in LA, continuing to release music as an independent artist, but he's so very, very funky and so gifted. I just love that song in particular. I think the lyrics say a lot, but that is Van Hunt with a song called Character. And, as we examine characters in films,
I appreciate Van Hunt and his great prolific body of work.
Yes. Because he's releasing an album like every 6 months now. He is like in the zone. He's also a fantabulous. He plays guitar primarily, but he plays piano beautifully. He released an EP that's just him on piano, instrumental.
Okay.
No singing.
You get off the plantation, them record company things, and you get all your recoupments done. You can do whatever you want.
I'm telling you. Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said for having the room to be your full creative self, and to have a dedication to telling real stories in your song, not being formulaic with the way you write it with any of that, so that your end product is something that 20 years from now you'll still be proud of.
Indeed. Sonata Maitreya just came out with, he just put too much music at one time. 53 tracks.
Wait, can you all see Rob's face? I mean, I'm sorry. See Bobby's face? Because he's like,
how are you just gonna bring up one of my favorite singers? Y'all just killing me right now. Like, I love this radio station already. Like, whoa. Okay. I just downloaded like 3 of the songs off of that album.
See, there you go.
On my way here.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because he put out songs that he had done almost 15 years ago. They're like the first 4 songs on the album. Right. And then he goes into the more esoteric.
Yeah, there's yes.
Yeah, well, again, same thing with Van Hunt, right? So the album after this one was supposed to come out almost a decade ago, and the label Blue Note finally released it. I think it was about Popular. Yeah, so he had already done an EP featuring some of the songs that were on that album that they were just holding on to for whatever reason. So I have acoustic versions of most of them, but they finally released the project about 6 months ago. So this.
Well, all right. So
talk to us about the independent route.
Yeah. What's your goal? Are you trying to get signed? Are these calling cards for Hollywood, or your independent voice? What was the impetus for the Charlie movie?
Well, initially, and of course, even through to today, is establishing who we are as creatives. We are here. This is what we can do. This is what we can do with limited resources, and just our creativity and a strong urge and sense of responsibility and telling of good stories. And of course, with that, organically, it will grow and grow into, the industry recognizing us, I'm sure, which has already, begun, and developing, more relationships and, becoming big time, I guess. Who knows?
But I think sometimes people downplay the idea of big time, right? Mm-hmm. Because that people get caught up in the money and fame of it, mm-hmm. and don't acknowledge the decision-making power of it, right? That being aspirational in terms of not necessarily awards, mm-hmm. but awards help, mm-hmm. right? Or having a vehicle like Ava DuVernay found in Oprah, who is like, you're brilliant, and so I'm going to use my star power to reach back and help create more vehicles for you to do what you do. But we need more of those. Yes. We need more people who have had to endure God knows what, mm-hmm. in order to achieve a level of accomplishment where they can basically kick open doors or use their own frickin' checkbook. Right. In order to bring up the next brilliant person and give them access and opportunity. And so wanting to be big time is not as maligned as some people in our community seem to think it should be.
Right. If anything, with my journey, I've always wanted to be a testimony, with, trying to push this film and get it out there. I've had to sleep in cars, sleep in airports, just do whatever you have to do to be to where you can be there and show your film and make those connections and make those relationships. So it's all about the journey. You have to enjoy the journey and be patient and thankful. And a conversation and a relationship with God definitely helps. Definitely helps.
Tambourine. Right. See, people who listen to the program on a regular basis know I talk all the time about a virtual tambourine. So I'm sitting here playing it for you because people need to know that that's real. I mean, the idea of couch surfing on a tour, if you're a vocalist like I am, that you are just trying to be out in front of an audience and reach them. And so sometimes it's not as glamorous as people would like to paint it to be, in order just to be in that space and share your gift. Right. And so, you're describing a very similar process for you to make films and for you to be able to gather audiences and just let them see what you're trying to say. Yeah.
And just even to stress the point, the last time, I was here, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I had to wait on the street. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm coming back and I have this beautiful opportunity with Reelback presenting my film, showing it, making more connections and things like that. So you just have to appreciate the journey, all of it.
Like, I feel it. I feel the brother. It's real.
Well, and plenty. Oh, there's a tambourine. Plenty more. I mean, please come out to support this gentleman. Discover his talent, his work. I mean, he's
you gonna do a free will love offering?
Well, we got to pay for this room.
Pay for the room.
Look,
there it is.
Look,
this time he's not sleeping in the car, ladies and gentlemen.
This is church. So when he comes back, then he can pay for our room. But we're making an investment. But also, I want the whole thing of Reelback is we want to share great work.
Yes.
And the great story behind this is not only this gentleman with the Art Institute in Atlanta, but he made this movie virtually no money, amazing cast, beautiful production design, great story, just a superlative. And tonight, people need to come out just not only to support but find out how you can do it too. I mean, this stuff isn't impossible. I think it's a lot easier than it has been, and I just we just have to continue, like you said, to pay it forward.
Yes.
So when we do see opportunities, and hopefully if you're watching and you're not in state, you'll bring Bobby to your town to
That's right.
request a screening or whatever. But anyway, I know that we need to cut this a little short.
Just a little bit, but okay. I want to just emphasize, for you all who are not Reelback members, you got to understand how long Mike is doing this and how much Mike does this for the love. And there is a responsibility that we have as a community to also buy Reelback memberships and to come out to the events that he supports, because there is we know that in Black community in particular, most of what we gets done by word of mouth. There are so few people who are the big check writers and the venue owners in our community to be able to just fling doors open wide and write that personal check to say these things need to happen. And so we make them happen in whatever spaces we feel are conducive to convening us, conducive to screening things. We make things happen as they do. So, we want you to support Bobby. We want you to support Mike. We want you to support Word Radio. And all of these ways that we do our level best to create
I appreciate
community.
we're in our 15th season, and I know lots of people that have similar ideas to do this, and resources are the most important thing. Thankfully, we've always partnered with people that gave us the space up front, and then we split the door. If you're in New York, you can't have 15 years of Real Black without having funders.
Yes.
Because those spaces cost money.
Yep.
And then a lot of people they lose patience, or people have families or whatever. So for whatever reason, we've been able to keep the doors open, the lights on, and this season. This season is all about Philly. Philly definitely. We want to see I just did a thing at Sundance last week where we spoke, and there's so many people there, and it's just one of those things like, it shouldn't take a Sundance to bring 100 filmmakers together in a room. Right. We have Bobby here. If you're even considering, how do you do it? You can look at Star Wars and say, maybe one day I can do it, but you can look at Charlie movie and say, and talk to the man. How exactly did you do it? Who did you contact? what is your path? And those are the people that you want to jump on with first, and continue with. You can't, and then as things evolve, So this is a birth, and we'll continue to show your work, because I think what you do is great.
Thank you so much.
And we'll continue to get Bobby to talk on the microphone.
3750 Lancaster Avenue, 7:15 p.m. evening with Bobby.
7:15 for y'all colored folk.
And if you want to check out the trailer, you can go to thecharliemovie.net. It has the trailer information and everything on there. So if you want to see what the film is about, please, thecharliemovie.net.
There it is. And so for my just last little bit, I don't want to make this long and melodramatic, but for those people who tune in on a regular basis, I just want to say that today, and please don't let me get emotional, today is the last day of the Mojo. As you have come to know it over the years, we are introducing a new female-focused segment from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and we'll be talking more about that on the next show. So I'm sticking around for a little while. We're going to sign off on Facebook Live, but we'll talk about it more. But I need you all to know that the concept of what we've tried to build through the Mojo, having Mike come in and be a part of this, and he's still going to be a part of the new piece, so he'll be part of the male energy that also gets infused in what we are doing here. But my on-air imprint will be Fridays from 10 a.m. to 1 as a part of this new concept. And so I just wanted to say, for all of you who have tuned into the Mojo as a weekday event here, that it has been such a pleasure to be able to share within the concept of embrace and explore your Black magic. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to emphasize what these guys are doing and how that ties into that theme, because there's so much more work to be done, y'all. And so we got to find our voices, we got to find our paths and our vehicles, and we got to be committed to exercising that, because tomorrow is not promised. There have been so many young people here in Philly, and as I've seen my friends, all across the nation, we are losing young folks. It's not just our elders who are passing away and taking this sort of treasure trove of our culture with them. It's a lot of young folks too. And so we've got to be committed to doing the work every day, to loving up on us when a society really does not. And we can't expect other people to. We got to take care of us first and best.
Okay, so to clarify for the listeners, when will you be on next?
Next Friday.
Okay.
At 10 a.m.
All right. And I'll be here at noon, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I still got a job.
So, yes, and you will hear much more about our new concept from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as Sister Araka joins us in studio in just a few moments. But I wanted to take that moment. Troy, thank you for sitting in for Kayla J today. And we appreciate all that everyone brings to the table. Come out to see Bobby's film tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 715 United Bank Building. And all the other goodness that we are going to be bringing forth in our creative space.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And so everybody stick around. Sister Araka will be on in just a few moments. Thank you for your support of The Mojo. And we will check in with you again next Friday, 10 a.m.
Lights, camera, action, it's on. New black film revolution born. Movers, shakers, big and little filmmakers. Let's make a movie today, see where it take us.